So hi guys, this is Avi, and I truly wish that everyone's doing fine. So today's live is all about finance. So I haven't done finance for a while, so I thought why not talk about finance this week? And there's a lot of stuff going on in the finance in the marketing sector, in the building sector, in property sector. So everything is going out of the sky at the moment. It's everything is so much of a concern that even Mr. Josh started trending. So why is it trending? Like, I will get to the point straight away. All right, I won't go into details of um, trying to build up a story here, but the whole point is that if you don't know yet, the property market of Australia passed $9 trillion worth. Today, Australian market is $9 trillion. That's a lot of money and lots of at stake. So what it was, so with the rising prices, the prices are rising nearly $2,000 every week. That's a lot of money. And 20% rise in property value across Australia. So on an average. So when we look at all these stats, we are, of course, as the treasurer of the country, you're going to be a little bit worried. Where the money is coming from? So the money came from people not spending on weddings, people not spending on birthday parties, people not going overseas for vacations or trips. So they saved money on those fronts. But at the same time, people have um, started working from home, so their travel expenses have gone down. Right, the standard of living has gone up for some reason. So the reasons beyond our imagination, where people have lost their jobs, people have lost their livelihood, businesses are shutting down, businesses are struggling. At the same time, when Mr. Josh Frydenberg is trying to curb the borrowing, Victoria comes up with a new plan of offering 25% of the value of the house. 234 approximately $1,000 towards buying a property, and it's not only for the first home buyer. Anyone can do. So if you're looking to buy a property, go ahead. In Victoria, it's $900,000. In Geelong, it's $600,000 worth of property, and in regional areas, it depends on how much you can do. But 5% deposit for anyone buying a property, not just the first home buyers or buyers. So that's going to be a good sign. So at one point, Mr. Josh thinks that we need to stop this market. But at the same time, Victoria thinks, no, we need to keep this market going. We need to help the businesses. We need to help people buy the new homes, because Australia at this very moment stands on only one leg, and that's built. With China's Evergrande going down, and there's another Fortune 500 building company that's struggling as well. That's again Chinese. So there's lots and lots of stake. So things are not looking very good at the moment. But we're on one side, um, the government is trying to curb the borrowing, but on the other side, the premiers of the state are pushing their state to get more and more borrowing. So when we look at all these things, we have to look, what is this? What is this? DTI. So this was the first thing that was brought in by APRA, the organization, and then in consultation with the Mr. Frydenberg. So what is DTI? So DTI is debt to income ratio. So debt to income ratio means that, let's say, I'll give you an example for that. I think it's the best ways to explain to an example, right? So this is the best way to do it. So you have to add up your monthly bills, all right? You're not going to include anything in regards to your living expenses, all right? No rates that being paid, no body corporate, nothing. So you're going to just include the payments for your debts. So debts include house rent or house payment or mortgage. Then you have child support payments if you're doing it. Then student auto and other monthly loan payments like credit cards, another payment. If you have a HEX debt, that's another one. And any other debt. It can be an ATO debt, can be any debt. So you have to add those up. All right. So do not include general expenses like groceries, taxes, utilities, extra. All right. Don't do it. Now, the simplest and the most efficient way is this. You don't have to ask a bank for it. You don't have to ask any specialist for it. So it's as easy as it is. All right. So income before tax is 5,000. Let's say for in your case. So let's say the mortgage payments are going to be 2,000. Okay. Your credit card payment is 150. That's minimum. So you have to take minimum. So you don't have to take maximum. It's always minimum. Then if you have a car loan, then have education loans. So all these loans, all the debts you need to sum up. Okay. You sum them up, it's 2,780. All right. That's your debts. So you're only going to calculate debts. And simply your monthly expenses divided by your gross income. That's your debt to income ratio. That means in this particular case, your debt to income ratio is 0.556. That's 55% or 56%. All right. So you are spending 56% of your income towards your paying the debt off. That's what it is. All right. And you're left with 45% of your money to spend on your living expenses, like paying off your rates notice, paying off your body corporate, putting fuel in your car, going for holidays, groceries, all that stuff. 45% is pretty good. But at the very moment, you'll be surprised that people are actually spending 60% of their money paying debts. That's a lot of money. And it's going up. It's bends. People are even spending 67%, that high. So you're left with only 22% of your income or 33% of your income to spend towards your living expenses, which is very, very tight. And depending on your family size, you 2 kids, 3 kids, you have a pet, So all these things add up, and it can actually push you to a limit. It's very hard. The concern is that houses are going, berserkly high very fast, and it's becoming harder for people to get into the market. So now we need to curb it because, frankly, interest rates are low. Reserve Bank has no issues at the moment to raise it, so they're not raising it in the next couple of years. But somebody has to stop it. So Mr. Frydenberg thought that it's a good idea that if we try to close down the debt to income ratio at 6 for the future loans, we might be able to slow down the market, hopefully. But let's see how it works. Then the second step they are doing is assessment rates. So at the moment, every loan is being assessed at whatever the interest rate is plus 2.5%. So in past, they were assessed at 7.5%. Okay, 7.5% against 5.5%. All right. So what happens is this rate gives you a buffer of approximately 22% rise in your borrowing. Isn't it great? So 7.5 against 5.5 is a rise of 22% in your borrowing. That's a lot. That's a lot. So where you could only borrow, what, $600,000? Now you add then you add $125,000 or $24,000 on top of it. That's how much you can borrow at the moment, against what you could borrow last year. That's a lot of money. So now they want to stop all this. Why, of course, somebody went in there and said, look, we need to stop all this. We are finding it hard to curb the market. We are finding it hard to find the property. We are finding it hard to find the land. So there is no actually land. If you want to buy a house and land package in Queensland, there's no land that's registering in a couple of months' time. It's very less land. It's very expensive. And the problem is, if you're going to buy a house and land package today, it's settling in March, or it's settling in June, it's settling in July, August, September, whatever, you might find yourself hard pressed against the valuations. The valuations are not coming. Timber has risen 2.5 times and last, even like from the beginning of this year. 30% steel has increased by 30%. So the cost of building a house has risen a lot. Brickies who used to charge 90 cents for a brick are charging approximately $1.90 for the same thing. There's lack of labor. I've done a session on this where the building industry in itself is struggling with workforce. It's a perfect time. So next video I'm gonna be making is my experience with Hutchins. So I spent 6 weeks training with Hutchins, and then 3 months on a building site with one of the builders. So I'm going to share my experience, what I learned, what is happening in the industry, how the industry is coping with all this stuff. But we're going to stick to this. All right. So there's been 22% rise in borrowing since last year. And then your savings sort of not going overseas for holidays, not having luxurious weddings, birthday parties have been gone down. So all that stuff. But so with the assessment rate rising, what's going to happen? That's the whole point of it. Like, what's going to happen when assessment rates go, what they call it, so we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to I will type this one down, okay, and sure. So we're going to talk about assessment rates. So the new thing that has come up with is the assessment rate is going to be 3%, not 2.5%. So originally at this moment, as I said, let's say your interest rate is 3%, it's plus 2.5%. But if it's fixed, then whatever the variable is going to be after that fix, plus 2.5%. So let's say your fix is 1.99% or 1.84%, but the variable rate after the end of that fixed period is, let's say, 3.09. So that 3.09 plus 2.5 is the original that's happening at the moment. But in future, it's going to be 3.09 plus 3%. So your borrowing is going to come down. It's going to be tightened a little bit. How much? We will see. But these are the steps they are trying to take in order to control the market, which is a bit hard at the moment because, frankly, everyone just wants to buy a house. Everyone just wants to get into the house. Everyone is missing on the houses. The house prices are going right out of the roof. That's right. All right. And the last and not the least, this is the thing that you need to be careful of. Liar loans. All right. Ooh, so there has been a lot of discussion around this thing, the liar loans. All right. In my strongest opinion, all right, in my strongest opinion, brokers are your best bet. So there's no doubt about that. Okay. So when we talk about these loans, so there's a guy sitting in a room somewhere. He loves to type. All right, he's typing. So he types out, oh, there are liar loans going on in the market where people are not actually telling accurately their living expenses, their commitments, the financial commitments. They're hiding their financial commitments. Because most of the financial commitments you can actually find on your credit file or credit report. I have no idea what they talk about. But these liar loans are going around. They have been marketing this thing as something that people are lying to the banks and trying to get the loan, the more loan. So these things. So when we look at liar loans, like somebody reckons in this space that 44% of the people lie or lied to get the loans. They were like nearly 22% more loans written in the first quarter than any other quarter in the past. So they reckon out of those 22% that has gone up, 44% of those loans were lied about. Come on, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard or read or something. That's why I always say that. Sorry for that. That's why I always say that brokers are your best bet. So when you go to a broker, they are going to make sure that you don't get into trouble, because broker doesn't want to get into trouble as well. So if broker is going to lie about the expense, they're going to lie about your financials on the paper or an application to the bank, they're putting themselves at risk. So brokers are your best bet to get that loan that you want. They're going to guide you properly. They're going to help you achieve your goals. They understand you. They give you time. Frankly, you don't have to sit around half an hour or 45 minutes, even if your appointment is booked with a bank. Brokers run a business and they care for you, because your broker's business depends on you. You're the client. So brokers are still the best bet when it comes to. All right. So the most important question, what's the future of the property market? Future of the property market is still bright. It's not going to slow down. If you're still looking for a property in the market, get into it. Don't wait around too much. Okay. In my opinion, there's never a bad time to buy a property. It's always neutral. You have the money, there's an opportunity, buy it. Don't waste your time. You know, what they call it, like listening to so many people around you. So your friends might come in to say, look, wait for another year or so, the property market's going to slow down. The property market in Australia has never slowed down. It has actually corrected itself a little bit. So people, what's going to happen is people are going to sell. Okay, so that's what happens. So I have a property. I bought the property for $500,000. Okay, today's value after 3 or 4 years is $700,000. After a couple of years, I'm not getting the 700,000 value. I'm getting maybe 107.20 or something. I'm going to hold on to the property because that property is paying me rent. I don't have an issue in keeping that property. So you have to make sure what decision you make is all calculated. You had your chat with your broker, sit down with them and try to know how the property is working, what's the best for you. The brokers guide you in the best way possible. Like I give my example. I am like, honestly, I pride myself in giving the best possible service. That's why I come online and talk about issues, because I have nothing to hide. I've seen so many cases where customers are not actually guided properly. So you have to make sure that you are guided properly. You're guided properly in terms of your interest rates. Okay, if you're doing construction, what other costs involved with it? What kind of interest rate you're looking for? If you're buying an old house, what kind of benefits are you receiving and what's not? So these are all things that the brokers have to be clear about. So as I said, the property market is going to correct itself. It's not going to come down. So if you're buying a property in the market, go find it. It's very, very hard at the moment, but keep trying it. One of my clients is still trying for the last 4 or 5 months. They can't get the property. That's what it is. That's how the property is, but you don't stop. Okay. So I guess this is the end of my live session today. So again, register yourself for the My Build My Pride Services app. It's available on App Store, on Play Store, and it's available on web, www.mybuildmypride.com.au. So if you are a plumber, electrician, clothes alteration, anything, a mechanic, get onto this app, register yourself. This is going to be one of the biggest apps in Australia in coming years. So mark my word for that. Till next time, I'm going to tell you about my experience with Hutchies, in the 6 weeks in the building industry as a training, and what I have found out, what I learned from it. It's going to be one of the very exciting sessions. So enjoy your Sunday and have a great week ahead. Thanks for sticking around. Thank you very much. Till then, be happy and financially fit. Thank you.